Hey there, I'm Andrew Pessin. I am a professor. Please don't hate me. It's not my fault. For those who know me, I've been kind of on the front lines of campus anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism over the past 10 years. I've been writing about it, documenting it, analyzing it, etc. If you're interested in following those issues, please follow me on X at Andrew Pessin. I also have a Substack. I think it's called Pariah, but you can find it under my name. I write some essays there, and I've been putting out a weekly short podcast, about 10 minutes each week, just sort of summarizing the highlights and lowlights of campus anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. So do check that out. The fine folks at Mast, I'm very honored that they asked me to provide a short video clip talking about some of my books. And since it is holiday season coming up, Hanukkah gift buying season, some of these might be appropriate for the warrior or the scholar or just the friend or family member that might be on your list. So let me begin by talking about my newest book, which is two volumes. Yes, they do look alike, but they're two volumes part of a set called Israel Breathes, World Condemns. Get these now because they're actually coming out in a more academic edition. They'll be a lot more expensive sometime in the very near future, but right now they're quite inexpensively available on Amazon and my website, andrewpessin.com. In these books, volume one is really they're a collection of my writings, many of my essays over the last 10 years. Volume one ends up documenting and analyzing the trajectory of campus anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism from roughly 2015 until October 7th, 2023, the date of the horrific massacre. And it ends up really showing how this movement began, the anti-Zionist movement, the hate for Israel, and ultimately the hate for the Jews, began on campus, grew on campus. It got worse both quantitatively and qualitatively. And then, of course, on October 7th and October 8th, as we saw, campuses erupted in really stunning explosions of support for the massacre. And so volume two documents how the Academy responded to October 7th and analyzes it. I do try to come up with an understanding of how it is that smart people, educated people, people allegedly committed to anti-racism and human rights could end up siding with the Islamist terrorist group that massacred 1,200 mostly Jewish civilians. So do check those out. Admittedly, somewhat heavy reading, but there you have it. Most of the essays are actually quite accessible. If you're interested in that topic, a book a couple of years ago, just came out in a new edition last year. It's called Poisoning the Wells, Anti-Semitism in Contemporary America. Unfortunately, this one also, it's an anthology of a bunch of experts documenting the nature of anti-Semitism in the country today, as of 2023. Unfortunately, it was a very timely book as anti-Semitism has just been on the rise over the last 10 years and especially over the last few years. A few years before that, I published Anti-Zionism on Campus, the University Free Speech and BDS. This is also an edited volume documenting how hostile the Academy had become towards Jewish and Zionist professors and students as of 2018. Looking back, at the time, we felt it was a major crisis. That's why we published the book. Looking back, it almost seems quaint and naive compared to how things have gone in the few years since. So, if that's your subject, campus anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, those would be the books for you. On a much happier note, much nicer note, I have this book I'm very proud of, The Jewish God Question, what Jewish thinkers have said about God, the people, God, the book, the people, and the land. It's a bunch of short, very accessible essays that will just introduce you to several millennia of Jewish thought on all aspects of God, the book, the people, and the land, of course. I'm very proud of this book, as I said. It's very accessible, and it will really introduce you to the incredible tradition, scholarly tradition, wisdom tradition, spiritual tradition of the Jewish people. We have a lot to be proud of, and it's not only about fighting the haters, it's also about building up our identity and our culture and our sense of self. So that book's for that. And then finally, just for fun, The 60-Second Philosopher. This is just a bunch of short, I am a philosophy professor. A bunch of short, very accessible essays, each one raising an interesting idea, an argument, an observation that's sort of meant to get you thinking. The essays are no more than 300 words apiece. You can, read a couple here, a couple there. Very fun, very entertaining, and certainly a lot more pleasant to think about than campus anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, even though we have to. Anyway, thanks again to the wonderful folks at Mass. Thanks for everything that they do, and thank you for this opportunity. I wish everybody, of course, a happy Hanukkah, and follow me on X or on my Substack. So I hope to see you there. Thanks a lot. Bye.